Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to another round of racing in F1 Total in Division 1, Season 16. This is round number 7. We start the second half of this 16th season. I am BS Gabri in the commentary box, and we are in for a special Grand Prix because, as you can see that this is Canada. But what you might not know, maybe if you look at the stream title, this is actually a mystery Grand Prix. For the first time in F1 Total, we're actually doing the mystery Grand Prix. We get all of the tracks that are not already in the calendar, we put them in our randomizer, and we extract one random track to be revealed just 15 minutes before the race start. So what does this mean? It means that every single driver out here will be in here racing, both for qualifying and the race, without practice at all. So this round will all be about adaptability, about how well can a driver adapt to the conditions, to their setup, to the track conditions, to the racing around them, all of that, to see who's gonna have the upper hand with absolutely no practice. So it's just pure pace, pure adaptability, as I said, because the track was just revealed like 15 minutes ago, so everyone just had some time to get a setup if they didn't have already one, and just absolutely no time to go into time trial or Grand Prix mode or whatever to do some practice laps. So this would be raw pace as we see it, and I definitely think this is gonna be an exciting one. And for Canada as well, you may know it for the track where you get the most track limits penalties, like Canada and Imola, and maybe Austria as well. Those three are the tracks where you absolutely see track limits penalties flying across the entire grid, and this would be especially more likely considering this is Canada with no practice. So again, I cannot stress this enough. It's just going to be that much exciting. But as you can see, qualifying is underway. Just started 2 minutes ago, 15 minutes and a half left on the clock. Some drivers are already starting their laps, and Morgan Edwards in the V-Cup will be the first driver to complete here our qualifying lap to see how well can he adapt for his first ever qualifying session in Canada. I mean, it's not ever, but it's the first qualifying session of the day, because I highly doubt anyone has had the chance or the will to practice Canada. I mean, Canada, out of all the 14 tracks that were in the randomizer. So yeah, let's see how well can he do on his first lap. It's a 108.884, and I'm not gonna try to predict the pole time or whatever, because I just don't know. I mean, first of all, I don't remember a likely pole position target for Canada, first of all, and second of all, they are with no practice, so it makes no sense in guessing that their laps will be the actual fastest lap they could possibly pull out. Edwin somehow has wing damage, he's missing the right end plate, and he's invited it, but he's still pushing. No idea what happened. Felix now completes lap, and it's 6/10 of a pole position. It's 109.4. Kat Racer definitely not his best lap, a 120.6. Same for Action Maker at 23.3. Yeah, definitely made a mistake there. 11 and 14 seconds of a provisional pole. So they will definitely be on for another run, and they can see where they can place themselves. Now you can see the Mercedes of Kat Racer going around turn 9, I believe. I was actually trying to take an image of the track map. There we go. Just have it on my PC. To be honest, I should have said this a lot earlier, but didn't think about it. There we go. And meanwhile for Kat Racer, he goes across the line to get his first lap. That is a 109.2. So I have always an action the two Williams boys, but they're currently very far off the pace. Setting a few things, and there we go. Alright, so now I can focus on the qualifying again. We got other drivers, we got the two Ferrari both on a push lap, Sally and Jeremy. Sally is ahead, so it looks like Jeremy will have a slipstream from his teammate. There we go. Really very useful, so down the back straight. So maybe Sally is on the lap, invalidated? Yeah, invalidated. So Jeremy with a bit of it. Oh, Jeremy's into the wall! And it's a DNF! Jeremy with a massive crash out to the World Champion chicane. He goes into the wall on the left hand side. That is a DNF for the Ferrari driver here in qualifying. No lap time set. He will start from the back of the grid. We already have the first surprise of this mystery Grand Prix. It's already a crash into the wall for the Ferrari. And they don't call it Wall of Champions for no reason. Jeremy, a double-time world champion here in F1 Total, he has been claimed by the wall. Too much throttle on the exit of the very last possible corner, turn 14, the left-hander of the chicane. Too much wheel spin, and into the left-hander, into the left side wall he goes, and completely destroys his car. And it could have been such a good lap with his slipstream from Sally as well, from his teammate. Let's see what can his teammate do, and if he bins it in the same way. But it actually looks a lot more nicer than his teammate. And for Sally's first lap, it's a P5 ahead of Felix at 109.9, 1 second behind Ball. It's actually ahead of Alex, sorry. Alex is 1.3 seconds, and there is 1.3 seconds off. There is Guga River just behind him, who is in the pit lane. PC Willia has a set a lap as well, and he's currently up into P4. We got Dylan as well, who has already set a lap, and I don't think anyone is pushing. Dylan is, I think. Yeah, definitely looks like he's pushing. And he's down by 2 thousandths of a second after sector 1. Now he goes across turn 6 and 7. With a ghosting Mercedes ahead of him. That is either Shamul or Catfish, but he goes out of the way. It was ghosting, so I don't know if he actually got some fixing. But let's see, Dylan is down by a tenth and a half after sector 2. So he's gonna have to find a lot of time. If he already hasn't found time in the hairpin of turn 10, then he's gonna have to absolutely send it through the Wall of Champions chicane, turn 13 and 14. But we'll see what can happen if you push it too much. Does it happen again for Dylan? And ooh, and actually had an extremely slight oversteer, like barely noticeable. And he improves. He finds a lot of time actually, almost 5 tenths, good enough to go up into P6 between Sally and Alex. Now we've got Edwin pushing again, not for his first attempt, but he's gonna set his first lap. And Shamul as well, who is just slightly ahead of Edwin. Edwin is taking involuntarily some slipping from the V-cab of Morgan, who goes out of the way. We go on board with Shamul, who's gonna complete his first lap. And so is Edwin, but actually takes a very much wider line, actually taps the wall on the right hand side and even invalidates his lap. So that is again the McLaren driver with no lap time set, with an invalidation once again. But in the meanwhile, Shamul has brought this lap home, and it's just barely a second below pole position. Splits P4 and 6, splits P Willie and Sally. And for Sean is a 109.807 for his best lap time at the moment. Felix is about to start one. Has he actually improved? I don't know. What he's doing? Yeah, he's back into the pit. So I think he actually improved and I didn't know this. Morgan has invalidated. Scapex with an invalidation as well. The Aston Martin driver with no lap time, same as Edwin, same as Bazooka, who is on the outlap and clips the grass on the outlap, almost sends it on the wall. So I think Morgan is gonna start one now. Yes, there we go. He's gonna push the car through turn 1, stay in 4th gear and downshifting into 3rd gear, pushing the steering wheel to the maximum into turn 2 to get as much rotation as possible. And now down into turn 3 and 4, one of the many chicanes that this track presents. And he ends sector 1 with an improvement of 74 thousandths. Overspaced too much on the inside of turn 6. That is an invalidation for Morgan Edwards. And he's not going to be improving anytime soon. Bazooka, on the other hand, is going to set his first lap. And his first sector 1 is a 19.5. Stays in 3rd gear for this very difficult chicane, so 6 and 7. It is very difficult to find traction around here. And now Brayson goes actually very cautiously through turn 8 and 9, so definitely not the best of performance he could put. Like it didn't look like the fastest way to take the chicane. But now he goes out of the hairpin, quite aggressive on throttle actually. Deploying some battery and now preparing himself for the Wall of Champions chicane. And again, didn't look like the optimal racing line through there. And for Bazooka, it is indeed actually not the slowest lap time, because the slowest is for Action, but the two Williams boys have retired and I didn't see them crash, so they must have retired in the pit lane, interestingly, but that's the end of the qualifying. Like, that was many minutes ago. But out of the cars that are still running, Bazooka looks to be the slowest, but Kart Racer looks to be the fastest. I missed that. It's a new provisional pole position for Kart Racer. A 108.717 for the Mercedes driver. He goes ahead of Morgan Edwards, so he has found more grip, more pace, as he's still trying to learn the car and the setup. I mean, it's definitely not his first Canada race ever, but like in this session, he's still coming to terms with the car and he's doing that nicely. Edwin has invalidated once again. He's been pushing for so much and hasn't concluded one single lap. And he goes into the pits. Does he even have new tires? Because he's been pushing for so long and always invalidating. Sean is pushing, improving by 63 thousandths out of sector 1, which at the moment won't be enough to go ahead of Piste Willie, but ever so slightly. If he finds more time, then he can have a shot to be somewhere into the top 5. And he's improving even more, almost by 2/10, improving exactly by 185 thousandths of a second, which could be enough to go ahead of Piste Willie, but not exactly enough to go ahead of Sully. But if he does a very good chicane, and if he has done a very good hairpin, he might just do it. And it looked like a good exit out of the World Champion chicane. For Sean Moore, it's going to be P4 indeed, ahead of Sully. Finds even 3 more tenths ahead of the Ferrari driver. But what is he going to do as he is about to start a lap? So he's not pushing yet. Morgan has invalidated. Sully into the pits, so he's going to go for fresh tires. Scaffex on the outlap, still to set a lap. There we go, we can see the Ferrari being pushed back into the pit boxes, so So is the Aston Martin. Morgan is gonna try and claim back pole position. Let's see if he can do it. For turn 1 stays in 4th gear, and for turn 2 stays in 3rd gear. Moving his steering wheel absolutely as much as possible, just like he did on the lap before, and deploying the battery on the exit. Now going downhill for turns 3 and 4. Very, very close to the track limits. I think you couldn't be closer to the track limits, and look at that, improving by more than a tenth and sets up purple sector 1. It's an absolutely flying lap from Morgan Edwards already after the first sector. Let's see the V-Cup driver going around the chicane of turn 8 and 9 and stays in 5th gear. Wow, absolutely so close to the absolute limit of the white line. And after sector 2, it's still an improvement, a tenth and a half, 173 thousandths, and now flicks the steering wheel, rotates the car easily through the hairpin of turn 10. That is like kings of turn 11 and 12 on the backstretch. DRS is enabled. Sorry, he's still deploying the battery. Now it is just the wall of champions chicane to finalize this lap, and it's an extremely good chicane, and for Morgan Edwards to across the line, it is gonna be a new pole position time with a 108.496, finds 4 tenths of improvement overall. There was an absolutely flying lap by Morgan Edwards. Kyle Tracer retires in the pit lane. He cannot improve more than that, so that's gonna be the best lap he's gonna pull today. Felix is not looking good, 6 tenths and a half off of pole position. But let's see, maybe he can find a lot of improvement if he's still trying to learn the car and the grip. Let's see if he can do that. Maybe his first or second lap wasn't representative at all, and maybe this last lap he's gonna pull will be the right one. And now he's improving by 69 thousandths of a second after section 1. Granted, that's not exactly the improvement you need. You need an improvement of 6 tenths, but it can still be found. For all we know, maybe if you got a poor exit out of this chicane, we could see the delta time improving a lot more after sector 2, and indeed, but not exactly a lot more, because he goes up to 2 tenths, and he's gonna have to find about 4 more through the hairpin that he has already done and through the chicane. And maybe if his sector 3 was poor in the last lap, then this might actually be it. Let's see what the German driver in the Haas can do. Around the wall of champion chicane, flicks the car, stays in 5th gear, deploying some battery and across the line, and is not good enough for pole position. Only an improvement of barely 2 tenths, and he stays in P3, so it looks like Morgan Edwards is safe in P1 up there. Sully in the Ferrari coming around the end of sector 2, and he's down massively by more than 2 seconds, so that's qualifying down for Sully. What about PC Willie? Improving by 3 tenths and a half after sector 1 already. That is a massive improvement, already good enough for P5 ahead of Edwin. Actually, Edwin, I didn't notice at all, Edwin in all of this has actually settled up and retired in the pits. Gogariver improves up into P9, that is his last lap. What about PC Willie? Can he improve even more? Oh wow, 6 tenths of improvement. He sets up purple sector 2. The Aston Martin driver is looking very good. Not good enough for pole position, but improving by 6 tenths. It could still be good enough for P4, maybe even P3. If he can find 2 more tenths, he could place himself ahead of Felix. Let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do across the chicanes of turns 13 and 14, and it looks like a very good exit for PC across the line. His last qualifying lap will be a 109.1, and he's good enough for P5. Puts himself between Felix and Shamul. Shamul has already gone across the line, so he's not going to improve, and I think qualifying is officially done. Morgan Edwards takes pole position for the Mystery Grand Prix here in Canada. He's gonna start in P1 ahead of everyone. He has adapted better to the track conditions in Canada. And there we go. Kyle Tracer and Felix in P2 and P3. Then the 2 Scottish drivers, PC Willie and Shamul in P4 and 5. Then we got the Lithuanian in P6, Edwin and Alex in P7, very close to Edwin. Then we got Sully in P8, Gugariver in P9, Dylan in P10, and outside of the top 10 we have in order Bazooka, Always, Actionric, Jeremy and Scafex. Jeremy with no lap time after his crash, and Scarface with no lap time at all, just invalidated and couldn't get a proper one set. And that is the grid for the Mystery Grand Prix. Qualifying is one thing, but the race is another. And let's see what kind of spectacle we will see tonight. Looks cloudy, but I didn't see anyone complaining about rain in the Discord chat, so I'm assuming it's gonna be dry. Now they're definitely gonna choose their strategy very carefully, especially if they don't know or don't remember a good strategy for the Canadian Grand Prix. Like, as far as I remember, the hards, like, they could go absolutely as much as you want. Like, they don't wear. Like, you could push them for the entire race. Mediums, I have no idea when they start to wear out. Maybe that's the most important thing to know. And there we go, the grid is set for the Mystery Grand Prix here in Canada. And it's lights out, and away we go. And Cal Tracer is already trying to pull alongside into turn one. He's still going to wheel. Cal Tracer massively outbreaks Morgan. He takes the lead, coming out of turn one, outbreaking the V-Cab of Morgan Edwards, who has started on the hard. Cal Tracer is on the medium, so he has better grip. PC William Felix already going side by side through turn 3 and 4. Who's going to be ahead? Still go wheel to wheel. PC William makes the move work, so Felix is already down into P4 at the start of this Canadian Grand Prix. And now the two Ferrari are almost side by side. Jeremy with an absolutely beautiful start, already up into P11, but he has a slide, and there's a Aston Martin into the water. This Scarface maybe with some wing damage, but he's still into the race. The Williams drivers as well, exchanging positions, always stays ahead, although, but now it looks to be a little bit calmer. Jeremy has a good start, up into P10 he goes, but he had a slide and was side by side with Dylan. There is the Williams of what is it? Always going completely sideways through the hairpin and cutting the grass. Now Jeremy overtaking Dylan just as he tried before around sector 1, and he goes up into P9, and lap 1 has been completed, so it is Cal Tracer into the lead with a beautiful move already at the start, outbreaking the V-Cab. Jeremy, the biggest winner of this target in 5 places. Sally and Alex trying to go side by side through turn 2, and up into P7 Sally goes, but Sally stays. Now you can see the tires, and it is pretty balanced between mediums and hards. There is a very interesting choice, and there we go, Scarface, already the very first victim of track limits. In only 1 lap, he already got 3 warnings. And those are already 3 seconds of penalty. Cal Tracer maintains the lead, but now Morgan Edwards will have the arrest to attack. Jeremy and Alex very close to each other, but not going for any sort of move. Actually, Alex goes almost into the rear of Jeremy, but now Felix sets the fastest lap. He has already found some pace. Dylan and Alex now go side by side. Dylan on the outside line, but goes ahead very much before the braking zone for turn 1. So Cal Tracer still maintains the lead. Morgan is gonna have to try to stay close to him as much as possible with those hards. It's going to be a difficult task, but the advantage is that the hards have a very, very slow wear rate, so he can push them for as much as he'd like. so that he can push to the limit on the later stint on the mediums. And I'm gonna have to check something real quick. Hold on. Okay, so there we go. Apologies, I had to check something quite important on my phone, but everything's looking good. So, we are back into the commentary box, and we are in lap 6. Morgan Edwards has retaken the lead from Kart Racer. Chris Willis in P3, Felix in P4, and the DRS train outside of the top 4 has separated. So we got a group from P1 to P4. Sean, who is trying very closely to stay into this DRS train of the top 4. Kart Racer is gonna retake the lead on the back straight just before the last chicane of the lap. Jeremy and Erin as well going for a move as Jeremy goes up into P6. So he's already pushing as much as he can from his 4th start, and he's improving, he's getting places left and right. Now Edwin is gonna also be under attack by Sully, and Sean gets a penalty. In the meanwhile, Sully outbreaks the McLaren. Edwin and goes down the inside of turn 1 and up into P7, still behind his teammate. The two Ferrari teammates absolutely climbing up the order, but Sean has fallen has fallen into the track limits trap. Another victim of those white lines, and he gets a penalty of 3 seconds as well. Alex Scarfax have as well. Let's see, how many penalties do they have? They have all 3 seconds, so 3 warnings or 5 for all we know, for all 3 of them. But Sean with a penalty and also outside of DRS. And Edwin, he's been overtaken by almost everyone. He's been overtaken by Jeremy, by Sully, now even by Dylan. And they both have DRS, so there's not gonna be a lot that he can do to gain back. Stays very close to his tail. Morgan gets a penalty! One of our main contenders for the win has taken a track limits penalty as well. Morgan Edwards with 3 seconds added to its time. The pole sitter, who has been overtaken by cars at the start of the race, now is in big trouble. Sully as well. Another victim of track limits yet again. Sully with 3 seconds added to its time at the end of the race. And that is very, very, very unfortunate for these two drivers. Yellow flags after turn 4. There is Aston Martin of Scafex going round and with a missing right end plate and flaps, winglets. So his right half of the front wing is pretty much gone. But this is a huge toll on Morgan Edwards, potentially ruin the chance for a race win for himself unless Caccese gets another penalty or something to his favor happens. PC Willie gets a penalty as well. There is two drivers who could have gone for the win. Already two drivers with penalties. Now it was PC Willie and before it was Morgan. So now this leaves our two may. Oh, PC Willie with a massive oversteer coming out of turn 2. This allows Felix to close back in. PC Willie has lost DRS. Yellow flags being waved. There is a Williams that has spun after the wall of champion chicane. It's always with wing damage as well. There is a winglet on the side of the track. That is his left winglet. Alex as well. Carly sitting in P11. And now we are down to 6 drivers with track limits penalties. Now moves happening in the midfield. Yellow flags for PC Willie, who looks to be struggling. Felix has overtaken him very easily, as he has had probably a slide, and Shanmue sends it on the brakes down the inside of the hairpin. PC Willie is trying to look for a switchback, but let's see. Did he have DRS? Not DRS? What? Not sure what happened there, but now the two Ferrari teammates exchanging positions once again. The midfield now is in a natural DRS train. Edwin has retaken his position against Dylan, who had overtaken him previously. Guga River trying to follow through. He's the last one of this DRS train. Now, ooh, Dylan with a massive oversteer. Dylan getting wheel spin coming out of turn 6. And he has almost spun into the wall on the right hand side. He has no damage, but he has lost a few places and dropped outside of the train. Outside of the 1 second gap. Dylan is now 1 second, more than 1 second behind Alex. Alex is 1 second behind Guga River. And with those odds, I'm not sure if he's gonna gain. Kat retakes the lead. PC Willie and Sean fighting once again. Jeremy and Sully swapping positions. Once again, the two Ferrari teammates are working together to climb up the field. Although right now is a lot more about defending from the two McLarens behind. Oh, but Edwin goes for a double overtake on both Ferraris. They go wheel to wheel through turn 1. Edwin has now the inside up for turn 2. They bang wheels. Jeremy is trying to look for a gap around both of them. Sully has a slide. Almost goes into the side of Edwin. They still go wheel to wheel through turn 3. Jeremy's gonna have to follow through. They lock wheels and Jeremy goes over for switch. He goes into the back of his teammate. Sully has crashed. It's a DNF for Sully. And Leon tries to avoid him. And it's a safety car. Jeremy gets a penalty for a collision with his teammate. The full course safety car is out on track. It's an absolute disaster for Ferrari. Sully into the wall with his race pin over. Jeremy with a 10-second penalty for a collision with his teammate that has caused him 2 DNF. They were going so great. They were working so good. between each other to try and gain back on everyone, but now it's an absolute disaster class for the Italian team and for the Italian driver who is out of the Mystery Grand Prix. Safety car is out on track, and now this changes everything. Catches is into Pissiwitty gets a drive-through penalty, speeding under Richard safety car. Surprises keep happening around the entire grid. Sully fighting with Edwin, then gets stabbed by his teammate, and into the wall he goes and gets taken out of the race. Jamie gets a penalty, 10 seconds that he's gonna have to 70 pit lane. Pissiwitty has a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car, and he's not gonna be able to serve it under safety car. He's gonna have to wait for green flags and then to serve it, and then his race is pretty much done. He's gonna have to drive at 80 kph through the pit lane with no pit stop, losing about 20 seconds to the entire grid. And it's absolute chaos after only 12 laps here in Canada. Alex has stayed out! Everyone went back into the pits, whether they had mediums or hards. Who has mediums now is not exactly into the greatest situation possible. Who is on hards, he's on a perfect strategy. But Alex is staying out on the old hards and is now in the lead of the race, behind the safety car and with Car Chaser. Worth mentioning, Car Chaser being Felix's main championship rival, he's now just behind Alex, just behind Felix's teammate. If Alex can pull a massive defense with those 11 laps old hards against Car Chaser, so against the main rival, his teammate's main rival, this will be a very, very good chance for Felix to catch back up. If we can see an absolute Haas masterclass between the two teammates, I will be very happy. So now we're just waiting for the Aston Martin of Scarfax and the two Williams of Always in Action to catch back up. Sorry. I'm not sure if Action Rick is gonna catch back up in this lap. We might just see a safety car still being out on track for one more lap. But it's very close. Let's see. Maybe a late call for the safety car? Yes, it's a very late call for the safety car who is in this lap. And Alex is gonna have to go for an extremely late restart. And he's gonna need to warm up his tires as soon as possible and as much as possible. And it's gonna be so difficult with those old hards. Morgan aggressively weaving to warm up his tires. But he has mediums. He already has an advantage. Alex still doing his best. And he has gone. And Edwin got a penalty! A track means penalty for Edwin under the safety car. Under the restart, what is happened? Pissiwitty is back in the pits to save his drive-through penalty. Edwin has got a penalty. I have no idea how. Morgan Edwards is trying to overtake Car Chaser. He almost went around the outside on those minutes, but it's not bound to happen. But now he switches back to the outside line for turn 3, but no, he stays behind. And Felix is looking at this fight just ahead of him. And he's gonna send it on Car Chaser. There you go. wheel to wheel through turn 6 and 7, and Morgan Edwards with a beautiful move on the outside and then inside of turn 6 and 7. Now he's up in 2p2 and he's gonna overtake Alex really soon, but Alex is not worried about Morgan. He's worried about Kyle Chaser, who is still behind him, but he's still trying to somewhat defend. Morgan has the outside line for the hairpin, sends it under the brakes, has the outside line, and he still go wheel to wheel, and Morgan Edwards has the better exit and is now in the lead of the race, but only on track, because let's remember there are still penalties that will come into play. But now Kyle Chaser is overtaking Alex as soon as he possibly can, and Alex is still trying to defend, and no, he's actually letting his teammate through. So what could have been a great defense for Alex was just not meant to be on those old hards. There was no chance. DRS enabled as we now go into our second lap in green flags condition, and Shamul is trying to overtake Alex around the outside of turn 2. Does the Mercedes driver have the run? He should. Yes, he does. And now Alex, he's just dropping completely down the order on those extremely old hards. Now Edwin sends it on the inside, and Guga River almost rear-ends him. Look at that, the Haas just between the two McLarens. It's a McLaren sandwich for Alex. Scarface is going almost for a move on Jeremy, but he stays behind. Now we got Jeremy, Bazooka, Guga River. We are trying to overtake Alex down the inside of the hairpin, and there we go, very easy pass for the McLaren. And now Bazooka is gonna also look through. He's gonna look for a gap on the inside, and he goes for that gap. Alex, he's been dropping places. He has dropped from P1 to P8 in only one single lap. Absolutely nothing he could do on those tires. Now Jeremy has to overtake Alex, and just look at how much faster the exit was. And he goes for a pretty much involuntarily switchback out of the wall of champion chicane. Now Edwin goes up into before, overtaking Sean Moore, but the top 3 is still inside DRS range of one another. Dylan with a slide out of turn 2, with a very stylish slide, I have to say. And just look at this trade from Edwin to Dylan, P4 to P12. PC will be retired in the pit lane. Could have been a contender for the race win, or maybe even for the podium, but he has decided that's enough. With that drive-through penalty, nothing he could do, and he decides to retire in the pit lane. Guga River and Action Rick with 3 more seconds to their times. And Bazooka now going down the inside of Guga River. They still go wheel to wheel through the back straight. Who's gonna have DRS? They both gonna have DRS, as they are both behind Shamul and inside the 1 second range. And they still go wheel to wheel. Jeremy is looking at this just ahead of him, but the Red Bull Bazooka stays ahead. And what a beautiful switchback from Guga River and from Jeremy as well, who overtakes the Red Bull that goes up into P7, and moves happening at the top of the field as well. Kyle taking the lead of the race. Jeremy re-overtaking Guga River, still stays in P6, and now has a run to go after Sean Moore, who is only 6 tenths ahead of him. Dylan gets a penalty as well. We are down to 9 drivers with track in his penalty. 9 out of 13. 4 drivers have not got any single penalty, and those are Kyle Chaser, Felix, Jeremy, and Always. Massive shout out to you, Always. Oh, there we go, Jeremy. We were in 4 and now we're in 3. 3 seconds time. I mean, 3 seconds of extra time added to Jeremy. And I think this midfield is pretty much equal on penalties. I mean, apart from Alex, they're pretty much fighting on track because they all have 3 seconds. But currently, it's looking like a 1-2 for our main championship contenders. Question is, who is gonna gain on who? Is Felix gonna gain those 7 or maybe 8 points on Kyle Chaser, or will it be vice versa? And Felix is behind, so he definitely needs to gain, while Kyle Chaser needs to defend. But Edwin has this massive, and I mean massive, DRS train behind him, all the way down to P12. And Sean is getting close. Look at that. Morgan overtaking Felix. Up into P2 he goes. and gets another penalty. Now it's down to 6 seconds. 6 seconds of track limits penalties for the V-Cup driver to make his race even worse and to drop himself even more outside of the contention for the win. I think Sean Moore will definitely have the run on Edwin to overtake him on the straight. DRS enabled. He gains. Resti doesn't gain enough. It stays behind, but moves are happening between Guga River and Scafex, and Guga River looks to be actually very slow on the straight because Scafex overtook him with ease. Jeremy now looks for a gap on the inside of turn 1 and almost rear-ends Edwin. He goes at the inside of Sean Moore, and there we go, up in CP5, and he looks to be the fastest in this midfield group. He definitely looks to be faster than Edwin, so he's gonna have to overtake him soon. Alex has made a mistake. He's down in P12. And always Dylan and Alex, they have dropped the... Oh, Dylan with a penalty! And with wing damage as well! I think it might have gone into the back of Always, or maybe tried to avoid him, and went off track and even got damaged. I'm not sure what happened there. Scafex and Guga River still going wheel to wheel. Out to the hairpin and on the straight. Scafex looks to have a run on some more. Let's see. He's deploying the battery. In the meanwhile, Jeremy is overtaking Edwin. Scafex doesn't have the run. He's gonna have to send it down the brakes on Shamul. Shamul goes off track and he bounces off the sausage curbs on the inside of the chicane and drops down to 8th as he's been pushed off track by Scafex. Trying to overtaking Guga River with a massive send on Scafex on the inside. They are overtaking each other left and right pretty much every single corner of every single lap. Guga and Scafex are fighting so intensely to try and defend this P6. Always has a penalty as well. So now we are down to 2 drivers with no penalties. Our main contenders for the championship, Felix and Kyle Tracer. But how long will it be before even they get a penalty? Now Bazooka and Alex fighting. Bazooka on the inside. Alex has to go wide. He goes into the runoff area. So now it's a very much smaller DRS train in the midfield. Felix and Kart still battling. They are on the hards. They are gonna go up until the end. But both of them, they could make good use of Morgan Edwards as traffic to maybe have a chance to put Morgan between themselves and maybe have a chance of gapping the rest, of gapping each other. Like, if Felix stays ahead and puts Morgan between himself and Catchacer, he has a chance of going away and to break the arrest from Catchacer, and so does Catchacer if he's in the lead and Felix is behind, and he still puts Morgan in between them. It could be a good strategy. So they're gonna have to fight between each other on track for the position, and also manage the traffic from Morgan, because it could definitely be a crucial factor in deciding the win. Always Bazooka and Dylan fighting, as I think Bazooka overtook Dylan, and Dylan, fair enough, he has damage, so he's not going as fast as he can. Oh, look at that, they still standing on the inside. Scafex and Guga River, these two haven't stopped battling once ever since this race started. Now Shamul also has a run. They go 3 wide into turn 1. Look at this. Guga River, Scafex and Shamul. Scafex almost gets spun around. Has a bit of an oversteer. I think he got himself sandwiched between Shamul and Guga River. And he's done in P8. And Sean gets another penalty. Now it's 6 seconds for the Scottish driver. 6 seconds of penalties for Morgan Edwards, Sean Mull, Guga River, Action Rick, Alex and Dylan. The rest 3 seconds, and Kat and Felix, no penalties. But there we go, now Kat and Morgan are going side by side. And there we go, Card has successfully put Morgan Edwards between himself and Felix. But actually Morgan doesn't have DRS, so this is definitely gonna be Felix's chance to go past him, and they almost go 3 wide into the World Champion. They actually go wheel to wheel. Morgan Edwards actually catches on Felix, and Morgan Edwards now going on the outside. Do they go 3 wide into turn 1? I think they could. Actually no, Morgan stays behind, but now Felix and Carchaser are finally battling side by side, and Felix has a poor exit coming out of turn 2. This might be Carchaser's chance to extend his lead and go into the distance and try and extend the gap to try and break the arrest. Scarfax is into the pits for a wing change. Interestingly, maybe that contact around turn 2 when they were going 3 wide, maybe that cost him some wing damage, and he's back into the pits and outside of the points in P11. Action Rink is speeding as well, but it's not for a wing change. But now everything has settled down a little bit. It's a bit more calm. So I think we're getting into that phase where it's gonna be DRS games between Felix and Cart for the win of the race. Morgan is in the pits. He's not gonna be able to continue on those mediums, so he chooses to change tires. So this now puts Jeremy on the podium. Especially considering Guga River has 3 more seconds than Jeremy of penalties, so this should be the classic German podium, the classic podium with the 3 German drivers, with always Cart and Felix fighting for the title and Jeremy just settling in behind. He has fought for a title and won for that title against Felix back in season 14, but was his only chance in recent seasons to do so. Now Edwin overtaking his teammate for P4. Alex in the pit as well. So now we've got the top 6 on hards and the bottom 7 on mediums. Just look at how perfect that looks. One half is like the bottom half on mediums and the top half on hards. And like cleanly, with no mediums or hards in between those groups. So now it's just gonna be a classic good old fight between Cart and Felix. A chess match of DRS, as we always used to see on F124, which in my opinion is the most boring and like just the worst way you could ever decide a race win, and to an extent even championships. Just chess matches with DRS, no racing, no fighting, no crazy stunts, no whatsoever, just DRS games. That has been especially a thing on F124, and it's just so frustrating in my opinion. But that's just how it is, I guess, and that's how these two are gonna have to battle for these remaining 10 laps and for these remaining 6 races before we finally finish with F124 for good. Sean looks to have around on Edwin and he's gonna absolutely fly past him very easily up into P5. Edwin in the meanwhile got another penalty, so yeah, 6 seconds for Guga, Sean and Edwin, and for Morgan Edwards as well, but he's far from this field, far from this group, this midfield I guess. So Guga, Sean and Edwin are in a real fight, on track fight for P4. The 2 McLarens and 1 Mercedes. Now Felix will fly past with DRS. There we go. Easy pass. Opens his rear wing and just flies past him on the back straight. As we now start lap 27. I don't think they're gonna have to worry about the DRS games yet, but it might have to start planning them very soon. So now it's a lot more calm. I mean, it was chaos for the first 12 laps, and then just went boring again. It's just chasing, no battling, just chasing with DRS. Oh, and Alex retires in the pit lane. Doesn't want to continue for 8 more laps. Now Scarfex overtaking Bazaka for P9. Are they equal on penalties? Yes, they are. 3 seconds for both of them, so it's a 5 for P9 for the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. Oh, in the meanwhile, Morgan has now suddenly gone. I mean, he has suddenly entered this DRS fight, this DRS train. Oh, he sends it down the inside of Edwin. Edwin leaves him as much space as possible. He knows that he's not effectively fighting him. Morgan also has the same amount of penalties. It's 6 seconds for all 4 of them, so it's effectively a fight on track, but I mean, Morgan is just on fresh mediums, so he's gonna fly past. There you go, now tries to go past Sean. And he does quite easily, yes. Nothing Sean can do to go side by side. So now he's gonna have to overtake Guga. And the question is, will Morgan have enough time? Will he have enough laps to catch back up to Jeremy? He definitely has the pace, but does he have the time? That's the question. But at the same time, Jeremy has 3 seconds while Morgan has 6. So if Morgan still wants a chance to claim a podium out of this race, he's gonna have to gap Jeremy by 3 seconds. So I mean, we're not even certain if he's gonna be able to catch him on track, let alone if he's gonna be able to gap him by 3 seconds. I don't think he will. Just he will settle for P4. Lap 30 out of 35, 5 laps left before the end, 5 laps and a half before the end of this Grand Prix. Felix and Kat still cruising together, planning their DRS games. Scarfex gets another penalty, now it's 6 seconds. Oh, Morgan is overtaking Jeremy. Morgan has definitely and like very quickly caught back up to Jeremy, and he overtook him at ease. So now he has the potential to gap him by 3 seconds, and if he does that, he will be on the podium, and Jeremy actually had a slide out of turn 4. Felix very close to Catres, and now he overtakes him down the, actually around the outside for turn 1, but just goes past before the braking zone. But now we are into lap 32. So I think that what we're seeing now is already their plan for DRS, because it will be extremely important to decide who is going to be ahead and who's going to be behind on the last lap on the back straight before the chicane. Oh, why do 10-second penalty speeding in the pit lane? What? First of all, why is Edwin going into the pit lane? And second of all, what? Why is Edwin going in the pit lane with 3 laps left to go on mediums? And I mean, even got a penalty doing that, 10 seconds for speeding, but why would you pit? You were in the midfield fighting with Sean and Guga River. I have no idea why Edwin has pitted, honestly. But now we are in the crucial phase of this race, because we are in the penultimate lap. This is already where the DRS games are being played, on the penultimate lap, because at the end of this lap we're gonna see maybe who's gonna be ahead on the back straight. Let's see. So 2 laps left to go. Felix is behind. DRS enabled for Felix. Takes out the slipstream, but he stays behind. ERS looks to be very similar on both of them. They are saving it all for the last lap. They both know it. In the meanwhile, Scarface is stacking penalties, now goes up into P9. Now DRS enabled, Felix has the run, but he slaps his DRS tune on and chooses to stay behind at the end of the penultimate lap. So now we're gonna start the final lap. Kart Racer will be in the lead of this final lap, and maybe this is all part of Felix's plan, to stay behind the entire lap so that he's gonna have DRS on the backside after the hairpin. He's gonna overtake him and take the win. But can he pull it off? Will have Car Chaser understood this plan and will try to react to it? Let's see. They are both on non-DRS. Car Chaser wants to get past. He wants to get past, and Felix doesn't want to pass. That's the thing. Kart is in big trouble because he's now ahead, coming into the last DRS zone, and Kart is trying to go so slow to let Felix overtake him, but he hasn't. Oh, they actually go deep into the hairpin. But actually, this was a perfect defense from Car Chaser because he has given him somewhat of a run to try and defend, but now Felix has the ERS, has the DRS. He now goes on the outside, actually on the inside of the World Champion chicane, and Car Chaser gets a penalty as well. But now this is an historical moment for Felix because for the first time since season 14, Felix is back on the top step of the podium. He has finally won another race here in Division 1. He has been outside of the top step of the podium for a whole season, season 15. Never winning a race, always trying to fight with Car Chaser, trying to gain back those places, but he was never able to do that. But finally, he has done it. Felix is once again a race winner here in F1 Total. After 2 seasons of break, he is back in P1 on the top step of the podium. It's a gain of 7 points for the championship, but even if it's not enough to gain back on the championship, Felix has finally done it. He has finally won again after more than 12 races of break. Let's see, when was his last win? It was round 4 of season 14, round number 4. That's like August or September 2024. He hasn't won a race since, but now we are in April 2025 and he has done it again. He is finally back on the top step of the podium and he can very happily celebrate that one. It was decided by DRS and he has played the game perfectly. Stay behind on purpose and deployed it all on the last lap, and is now finally spraying the champagne, enjoying those 25 points. And now the gap goes from 22 points to 15 after round 7, so now we have 5 races left and the gap has closing. And now this also means that Felix is the only driver with no track limits penalties, because Car Chaser, he got a penalty on the absolute last corner on the last lap. So Felix was the only one to not get a penalty, and I think he's gonna be the MVP of this Mystery Grand Prix and a very well-deserved race win. So now we have Car Chaser in P2, Morgan in P3 on the podium, Jeremy in P4, gaining back from P14 after his crash in qualifying, so it's definitely a good race from Jeremy as well. Missed out on the podium because of Morgan, but still a very good result. Guga River as well, very proud of the P5. Sean in P6, Scafex recovering up into P7, Bazooka in P8 as well, points for him, points for Always in P9, and one last point, actually 2 points for Edwin as he has the fastest lap. Then we have Dylan Aksharik outside of the points, Alex Peace, William Sully with a DNF. But Felix is your race winner for the Mystery Grand Prix after so many months of waiting. He is back, ladies and gentlemen, and this might be a sign that he is back for another title. And we will see. Now the gap is 15 points, so it is definitely gonna be interesting as the season goes on. Finally, I have to say. But anyway, this has been the Mystery Grand Prix in Division 1 in Canada. Wednesday we will have the Mystery Grand Prix for Division 2, and since Canada has been drawn out here in Division 1, Canada will be drawn out of the of the randomizer pool for Division 2. So Division 2 has a 0% chance to race in Canada with the Mystery Grand Prix. So we will see Wednesday, just before the race starts. So for Division 2 at 7:30 p.m. UK, one of these following tracks: Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Azerbaijan, Imola, Monaco, Spain, Belgium, Singapore, Texas, Mexico, Las Vegas and Portugal. One of these tracks will be the track for Division 2 on Wednesday. So we will see how that goes. But beside that, I would actually spam for one last time Realistic Racing League, because tomorrow we will be racing at Sochi on F1 2020. So there's still plenty of space if you want to join. I mean, the grid is pretty much full, but not everyone is attending. So if you want to start the season from race 1, tomorrow will be your chance. We're racing at Sochi in Russia, a historical track that we've not been doing for quite a lot of years. So I invite you to join RRL if you are on PlayStation and have F1 2020, because we're gonna start tomorrow on Sunday. But other than that, it's gonna be the Mystery Grand Prix in Division 2 Wednesday, and Division 1 will be back at Zandvoort. So thank you for watching tonight's race, and we will see you next week. Bye bye everyone.